mind, following without a sign. Shadows creeping in the night. Truth is hidden from your sight. Voices echo in your brain. Loyalty that leads to pain. Blindfold on and led astray. Can't you see a brighter day? It's a cult, it's a lie. Can't you see? Open your eyes. Break the chains, cut the ties. Before it's too late, realize. It's a cult, it's a lie. Can't you see? Open your eyes.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen.
Before it's too late, realize. Promises that never stick. Empty words, a dirty trick. Feeding anger.
Let's get this show started.
It's time to change before too late. Rise above, break the mold. Find your voice, let truth be told. Shadows fade, light unfolds. Liberate your mind and soul. It's a cult, it's a lie. Can't you see? Open your eyes. Break the chains, cut the ties. Before it's too late.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a cult, it's a lie. Can't you see? Open your eyes. Break the chains, cut the ties. Before it's too late, realize.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's almost showtime.
Rise above, break the mold. Find your voice, let truth be told. Shadows fade, light unfolds. Liberate your mind and soul. It's a cult, it's a lie.
It really
Can't you
is.
see? Open your eyes. Break the chains, cut the ties. Before it's too late, realize. It's a cult, it's a lie. Can't you see? Open your eyes. Break the chains, cut the ties.
Good morning, Kamira.
Realize.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show started. You know exactly what we came to do. We don't got much time, an hour, 2 hours to learn, and so many hours to burn, all right? All right, we don't got much time to get through all of this, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be in and out
It's like a curse.
like a burger. That's actually funny, W Zeus in the chat.
It's like deja vu.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show.
It's deja vu when I'm running up these racks.
I'm like the Terminator screaming, I'll be back.
Deja vu when I'm out here
Nice to see
buying
each and every
first
single
class.
one of
It's like
you.
Every week I gotta take out the trash. I'm on top of my game.
Ahead of the class, you can tell that I made it. Look at my grass. You gotta look at the grass, because when you got grass, that means you made it. You know what I'm talking about. Screaming how we made it. This is how it's supposed to happen when you're rich and famous. The algorithm turned me to a maniac. I guess we going viral cause my Zodiac. I got all these numbers on my spreadsheet. Benjamin Franklin is my bestie. Really is. They don't get replies if they text me. Right? Got a lot of confidence and I'm conceited. Ooh, call me the master with a new whip. Here's a Zeus hater right here.
I'll tell you what, I haven't gone into Zeus's live in a couple of days. That shit was radical.
Okay.
It was horrible.
Oh.
I'm like, Zeus has gone way off the rails.
Oh. Ooh. I'm off the rails. Like the economy. I knew that hurt. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show started. All right, W's in the chat for everybody. All right, especially my fellow Democrats. All right, because today is definitely one of the most interesting days in American history, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else except with each and every single one of you, my fellow Democrats and my fellow independents, every single one of you who did not vote for Donald Trump. But before we get started with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's take care of some housekeeping items. For those of you who do not know who I am, I go by the name Zeus, or as some like to say, Triple H. And why do they call me Triple H, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple. The first H is, well, because I'm honest. I'm the most honest person on social media. You might as well pretend like my hands are resting on stacks of Bibles the entire time I'm doing this show, all right? The second H is, well, because I'm humble. There's nobody more humble than me. Listen, if I get it wrong, I'll be the first to apologize. But just because your feelings are hurt, it does not mean I owe you an apology. Absolutely not. It most likely means you need to sit your special behind down and listen to this special broadcast. All right, and then the last and the final H, ladies and gentlemen, which we all know is arguably one of the most important H's you'll ever deal with, is because I am and will always remain the most handsome. Yep. Yeah. I woke up like this. Many of you are very familiar with what we do over here on this side of TikTok, on this side of town. It's so special what we do. We hold these people on the right accountable for what they've done by electing Donald deranged Trump to be president again, despite seeing all of the warning signs. And so we do that by overwhelming their MAGA minds with an overwhelming amount of truth and in facts, data, statistics, however you want to do it. And we also have some of the best defensive tactics they've ever seen. I mean, we deployed defensive tactics on MAGA, and we let them know we're not going to give you an inch, a centimeter, or a millimeter at all in terms of ground, because we're no longer going to let you get away with using Joe Biden's name. Nope. No, we don't allow Biden derangement syndrome over here. As a matter of fact, I got to say this yesterday. Yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, it was brought to my attention, perhaps, that maybe I was a little too harsh on a Trump supporter. And so I'll say this. Anybody that gets into this box, I'm going to be honest with you. I am not a doctor. I am not a physician, and I am not a psychiatrist. When you get into this box, I will, I have the ways to do what I do. I have to make a judgment call to see if you're actually able to have the conversation. And if I determine you're able to have the conversation, I'm going to continue it. And you know what? That's just how it's got to be, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't understand how people voted for Donald Trump. I really don't know how they did it unless there's something wrong with them. All right. But like I've always said, and you have my word, the most dangerous thing in this country of ours is an uninformed Trump voter. That's the most dangerous thing, because how do you vote for your own demise? Because how do you vote for your own demise? How do you vote for your own destruction? And so listen up. If you are a Trump supporter and you're super sensitive, right? Or as my good friend Brother Swervin once said, he hasn't said it in a while, but I think he should always say it when he gets into my box, honestly. You're lactose intolerant. You know what that means? When it means you're lactose intolerant, that means you're allergic to the dairy. You're allergic to dairy, right? But when you're lactose intolerant, you're allergic to truth. If you're one of these people who are lactose intolerant, right, I think it's time for you to leave my show, leave this live, and go on about your miserable morning. I don't want any DMs. You know what, lately, ladies and gentlemen, can I be honest with you? It seems like every week after the show ends, I get a bunch of people crying in my DMs. Oh, Zeus, you shouldn't have did this and you shouldn't have said that. Excuse me. Every issue that these Trump supporters try to say that they have with Big Zeus, I don't buy it, because how do you think I'm supposed to feel about knowing you voted for this man who we all know he's mocked disabled people? This is a man who we all seen disrespects women every single day. E. Jean Carroll, Stormy Daniels, even his wives. This is a man that's, as far as I'm concerned, you see what he's doing with people that are American citizens, sending them to prisons, what they call them, concentration camps. You don't have a problem with Big Zeus. You have a problem with yourself. You have a problem with your conscience. And if you do not want me to call that out when I see it, do us all a huge favor, ladies and gentlemen, and leave this live, because like I said, it's going to get very, very uncomfortable for you. I'm going to ruin your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and everything in between simply by telling the truth. All right. And if you don't want that to happen to you, just go ahead and leave. All right. All right. Because it's going to get very, very uncomfortable for you. But get this, you don't have to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
All right, so yesterday, we're going to start off by covering a couple of things. Obviously, the elephant in the room is these terrorists that have gone into place. And I have a quote from Bruce Lee. I like to watch some of Bruce Lee's older films. And when I saw these terrorists and I said, we're really getting into a trade war with China, I said, you know what, we're going to have to bring one of his quotes in. I'll bring that up in just a second. But I want to start with Donald Trump speaking yesterday at the RNC committee dinner. Did any of you see that? This was by far real clear evidence that Donald Trump is too old to be president. He needs to hurry up and give us the results of his physical. I know he's supposed to have the physical on this Friday. He's supposed to go to Walter Reed, he said. And I said, I'm pretty sure a lot of people around him are really starting to question whether or not he can actually fulfill the full 4 years, because what we're seeing right now is a level of incompetence no other president in American history has ever displayed. And the people that continue to support Donald Trump, despite the fact they know none of this stuff makes sense, you should also get a check out as well. So what we'll start out with, ladies and gentlemen, is during the speech, he went back and he started talking about someone we are all familiar with, all right? Someone we all love to hear about. Who is this? This is our good friend, the late, great Hannibal Lecter. All right, so we're going to get this on the record as just more evidence that something's wrong with the president mentally, all right, cognitively speaking.
Violent criminals, murderers, drug lords, and the mentally insane. Insane asylums were closed. They used to go crazy when I talk about Hannibal Lecter, the late, great Hannibal Lecter, right? Silence of the Lambs. The fake news would say, why does he talk about that? He's a fictional character. He's actually not. We have many of them that came across the board. He's actually not. But when the people went to the voting booth, then we understood why he talked about that, because they voted for us. They said, we don't want Hannibal Lecter in our country. The great Hannibal Lecter, he was a very important force. But the press would go absolutely crazy if I mentioned Hannibal Lecter's name, because they said he's a fictional character. No, but it was making a point, and the point is they're emptying mental institutions and insane asylums. Not anymore, they're not. Insane asylums into our country. We had numbers, the likes of which nobody's ever seen anything like it. Other countries, I deal with other countries all the time. I am right now in tariffs where they want to make a deal with us.
I'm going to stop right there. So, again, why are we hearing about Hannibal Lecter, MAGA? Anybody can answer that question, please? Any Trump supporters out there, please explain to Big Zeus, why is the sitting president of the United States still talking about Hannibal Lecter? I do not get the analogy. I think he's basically saying Hannibal Lecter was in an insane asylum, and then he's linking it to asylum seekers. Is that what he's doing? Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, this is a sign that he's definitely got something going on upstairs. And the American people, ladies and gentlemen, don't we deserve answers about whether or not he has the cognitive skill set, the abilities to actually follow through with the full length of his presidency? Because this, to me, newsflash, Donald Trump, you're not on the campaign trail. You're not on the campaign trail. So what are you doing? It's like he is stuck in the 80s. Someone said that he's stuck in the 80s. And you know what? A lot of us, we have relatives like that. They're stuck in the past. And, those are the glory days. And I get it. But unfortunately, someone needs to tell Donald Trump, we're in 2025, champ. And the American people are not falling for it. All right. So, but this is just one example of many. I also want to go to when he brought up, someone we all know too. President Biden, and again, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, and I think Joe Biden was right when he said this. Joe Biden said it, and it got under Donald Trump's skin. But I'm going to say it, and I'm going to repeat it. I really do think when Donald Trump lost to Joe Biden in 2020, something inside of him it snapped, and he hasn't been the same since. Something inside of this man snapped when Joe Biden beat him. And he just can't seem to shake this. It rattles him. It keeps him up late at night. And anytime he's talking and giving his speeches and trying to brainwash and reprogram his supporters, the spirit of Joe Biden haunts them. And, I got to say something about Joe Biden. We already know it's on record. He says something about Biden at least. The New York Times, they said it's around 7 times a day, but that's on record. But in private, they say he always talks about Joe Biden. So Joe Biden, please, if you can, tell us all what you did to this guy. Because I've never seen trauma like this. But, ladies and gentlemen, in the middle of his speech yesterday, after invoking Hannibal Lecter, he brings up Joe Biden.
Treating them so good. And, you know, when I have tariffs and I say, well, we're going to charge what they did. We're going to charge what they did. And then I say, I'm going to charge much less than they did. Believe me, we're actually being nice about it. But we're doing very well, better than we've ever done before. My job is not to maximize the profits of outsourcers and I mean, these foreign corporations are horrible. It's horrible what they're doing, but we're catching them. We're catching them by the dozens. My job is I have to defend the American dream, and I have to defend the American citizens. That's my job. I have to defend that. The American dream is never mentioned.
Now, does anyone hear any reason for him to bring up Joe Biden? You hear what he's talking about? Anything happening now that makes you think, this is a good time to bring up President Biden? No, right? But just watch how Biden must have touched him on his shoulder at some point.
It was mentioned for 4 years, and now it's being mentioned again, but it was never mentioned when we had Sleepy Joe in office.
There you go.
I used to have the hardest thing I had to do with Joe Biden is the nickname. Do I call him Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe? Could we take a vote, please? Who wants to call him Crooked Joe? Who wants to call him Sleepy Joe? That's my problem. It's like the same. They both work. They both work beautifully. Joe had one ability that I didn't have. He said he was a good golfer. He's terrible. Somebody said the only time I got angry during our debate when he said he was a 6 handicap. He's not a 6. He's not a 36. Okay. But he had one ability that I don't have.
Here it goes.
He was able to go to a beach, bathing suit in tow, because it looked like it was actually falling off. But he'd go, had a hard time walking through the sand because, sand is heavy on your feet. Carrying one of those 6-ounce chairs that are made out of aluminum that if you weigh a little bit too much, it just cracks in the middle when you sit down. And he could sit down in a beach with photographers on the beach. He's the president, so he had a minimum of photographers, but he still had photographers. And he could fall asleep. Who the hell could do that? Who could fall asleep? And he'd turn around and drool would be coming out. He didn't care. His wife didn't care. It's an ability that I could never fall asleep under those circumstances. I'd be very conscious of my body and what we look like.
Y'all hear this, man? This is someone who is obsessed with Joe Biden's every move. He just can't get over the fact that Joe Biden beat him in 2020, beat the brakes off of him. All right. I mean, it was the biggest smackdown he's ever experienced. And he's just not able to get over Joe Biden. He can't stop talking about Hannibal Lecter. I mean, we have a serious crisis in this country, ladies and gentlemen. And I wish I was joking with you, but this is some serious stuff. What else did Donald Trump decide to do? He decides he's got some breaking news and he's going to place tariffs on pharmaceuticals. Did you hear this, ladies and gentlemen? So let's go ahead and get this on the record. And again, we're going to get to judgment right after I get all of this on the record. But I'm just trying to point out how unhinged and how deranged Donald Trump is. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, we're in a nasty situation as a country, and his supporters, as much as they think they hate me or they hate the Democrats or they hate the left, it's not us they hate. They hate the fact that he's doing this to them, all right? Because MAGA newsflash, he's just announced a new tariff on you. You thought that his chart that he came out with and put these ridiculous tariffs on these other countries, you thought that was an additional tax. That was an additional tax, but you thought that was bad, right? He decided yesterday in the middle of this speech, we're going to go ahead and start taxing pharmaceuticals, all right? So let's get this on the record.
One of our trading partners running up our deficits with these countries, they sell a lot. When you put a tariff on them, they sell it like with steel. They were dumping tremendous amounts of steel into our country during my term. I saved every steel mill. We only have steel mills because of what I did. I put a high tariff on them. 20% 25 and then 50%. And it stopped. It stopped. They were dumping so much steel, we would have lost every single steel mill. The people that like me best are the people in the steel business, but I think the auto business is going to be right there. I think chips are going to be there. I think pharmaceuticals
Here it goes.
are going to be there because, you know, we don't make our own pharmaceuticals, drugs, and other things to get better. They're made in other countries.
Where'd you get this stuff from?
And you pay a number, I mean, the same package in our country compared to like London
Oh,
and other places is sometimes 10 times more. 10 times more. Something that sells for $88 in London sells for $1,300 here, made in the same factory by the same company. And that's over. I told them all that's over.
oh.
They put all of their research and development, they put everything. But what they don't tell you is that these other countries are smart. They say you can't charge more than $88, otherwise you can't sell your product. And the drug companies listen to them.
Listen to this.
But we're going to do something that we have to do. We're going to tariff our pharmaceuticals, and once we do that, they're going to come rushing back into our country because we're the big market. The advantage we have over everybody is that we're the big market. So we're going to be announcing very shortly a major tariff on pharmaceuticals, and when they hear that, they will leave China, they will leave other places because they have to sell. Most of their product is sold here, and they're going to be opening up their plants all over the place in our country. We're going to be announcing that, so that's breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news.
Wow. So another tax on his base. I just put a video out. I said it last night before I went to bed, and I have strong convictions about it. I don't like thanking Donald Trump for a single thing. I never will. But under these conditions, I actually had to say thank you to Donald Trump last night before I went to bed because I truly do enjoy, and it might be something I got to work on. That's between me and the good Lord. But I truly am starting to enjoy watching his supporters suffer at his hands because it's like it's a crime being committed and I'm not even the one committing it. It's him. He's doing this to his supporters. And I know that they are going to support him all the way until the edge of the earth. And then, you know what? If you got to jump off, I know that they have no problem jumping off or peacefully crossing over into the afterlife because they really do believe that Donald Trump is their doctor and he is giving them their medicine. They really believe this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why I say, when you get into my box and you're still supporting Donald Trump, I have no other choice but to assume that you are fully possessed with the MAGA demon and you're not really who you were when you were born. You are now a vassal of transgression. I've played a lot of video games. You know, there's a video game, Resident Evil. You ever heard of that game? The T virus. It's the T virus inside of them. Unfortunately, I can't ignore the T virus in you, and now you're just a monster. And so we have to overwhelm you with so much truth in order to get that demon out of you, which means sometimes you got to go to the lake of fire. You know what? W Zeus in the chat, because I know I'm cooking and booking this morning. And a lot of what I'm saying and doing is going right over their head. But the ones that are actually really paying attention, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I'll give you an example, MAGA, of what I mean when I said you'll go to the edge of the earth. Because, listen, Donald Trump gave you an assignment during the speech. And, again, I want to see you Trump supporters doing it because it'll make me laugh to see you doing it. But he said you can kiss his you-know-what.
This is bigger than any deal. You guys, some of you work for companies. Your companies are peanuts. I don't care how big they are.
Watch this, MAGA. Pucker up.
This is the
Get ready.
largest transaction in the history of our country. And don't let some of these politicians go around saying, you know, because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make it here. Please, sir, make it here. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir. And then I'll see some rebel Republican, you know, some guy that wants.
So he said there's countries calling him up. Ooh, Donald Trump, I'll do anything for you. What kind of sick and twisted fantasy is this man in? This is somebody's grandpa. This is somebody's husband. This is somebody actually has to vouch for this guy at the end of the day. Whose man is this? Y'all can't tell me ain't nothing wrong with this. Red Lady Red, are you out here? Because you know, like I know, something is really wrong with this man. W Zeus in the chat. And again, I'm not doing anything but hitting play. That's all I'm doing, MAGA. All I'm doing is hitting play. Y'all getting triggered. It's the most mind-blowing thing I've ever seen. And he's doing all of this because he wants the Republicans to pass this ridiculous bill that obviously he's calling the big, beautiful bill. All right. And you know what that comes with? That's going to come with cuts to possibly, Medicaid, Medi-Cal, and your Social Security and things like that. So he's basically he's pressuring Trump supporters, right, to do something that they all know is going to result in them being harmed. And in the process, he's threatening a trade war with China. Oh, yeah, I know what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was make sure MAGA understands what getting into a trade war with China it really comes with, because I don't think MAGA understands this. And I thought, you know what, let's take a good quote from the late, great Bruce Lee. And he talks about a karate punch versus a kung fu punch. All right. And this is what MAGA doesn't understand. So MAGA, let's get it on the record what the difference between a karate punch is, which is what they think the United States is doing, and then what China is doing, which is a kung fu punch. All right. We're going to get this on the record and then we'll get to judgment.
Between a kung fu punch, between a kung fu.
So they ask him what. So the interviewer asked Bruce Lee, what is the difference between a kung fu punch and a karate punch? All right.
What's the difference between a kung fu punch and a karate punch?
Well, the karate punch is like an iron bar, whacked. A kung fu punch is like an iron chain with an iron ball attached to the end, and it goes whang, and it hurt inside.
Did you hear that? See, the iron bar is like whack, and then that's it. But the iron chain, the karate punch, the kung fu punch, it's like an iron chain with an iron ball at the end of it, where it's going to do the whacking, and then there's going to be some internal pain. And so what I want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to warm up the lake of fire for you Trump supporters, because y'all don't understand the difference between a karate punch and a kung fu punch. But there's going to be some internal pain, and that's exactly what's currently going on right now with this great country of ours. Yeah. The United States threw a karate punch, and it's a whack. But China's throwing a kung fu punch, which is going to be a whack, and then an iron ball that comes at the end of that chain, and then it's going to be a lot of internal pain. And unfortunately, this is what it'll take to get a lot of you out of this cult if you make it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's warm up the lake of fire. Let's warm up the lake of fire. And what we're going to do for each and every single Trump supporter out there that's still on the Trump train, despite all of the warning lights flashing, you're still on the Titanic of a destructive ship that he's the captain of. He's probably going to jump off and leave you on there, but you're going to go down with the rats. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what this is.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now I got other content that I could possibly go through, but I really want to open up the town hall now and start hearing from everyday Americans about the state of affairs. And you know how I do this. I'm going to go to the box. If you're a Trump supporter, please identify yourself. All right, in the chat. If you're a Trump supporter, identify yourself in the chat. And what I'll do is I'll dial it back, because I got to be fair, and I will try to help you through whatever it is that I see you need help with. No cursing on the show. We're going to try to stay within the community guidelines, because that's very important these days. And by all means, ladies and gentlemen, again, PSA announcement. If a person gets into my box, they entered at their own risk. I am not a doctor. I am not a psychiatrist. But if I think it's a person that shouldn't be up here, I'll deal with that. But if I think they're actually, a regular Trump supporter, I'll deal with that as well. W Zeus in the chat, because I don't got time. I really don't have time this morning. The stock market, ladies and gentlemen, is in free fall. Put a 1 in the chat or send me a guest request, and I'll bring you right on up here, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Trump supporter. Let me see, where are we at? Yes. Oh, a lot of you don't like Donald Trump. You're welcome. No, listen, W to the chat. And I see a lot of you are saying, thank you, Zeus, and all that stuff. All right, seriously, thank you. Because without you, this wouldn't be possible, honestly. I want to really talk to a MAGA demon out there who's struggling right now to see the truth. But I hope some of the information that I've given is actually going to allow them to come out of the fog that they're in. And again, I'm going to put up the defense barriers for you. You can't get in here and start bringing up stuff that happened in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s. There's a lot of people in this audience that are knowledgeable in those subjects as well. We're talking about today, right now. What in the world has your dear leader done for you? And don't tell me this business about Zeus. You got to give him 100 days. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a Trump supporter. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a Trump supporter. Thank you so much. Yeah, Pamela, no problem. I wake up every morning, and I do this show because there needs to be information going out like this, all right? And it needs to be unadulterated, unfiltered, but respectful, all right? This information needs to fly out of there, fly out so fast in order to help the American people. Talisa, could you send me a guest request because I can't send you an invite, all right? And that means something's wrong on your end. Jonathan, come on up here. I sent you an invite. Why didn't the Fed come to his rescue? China didn't. Oh, yep. Loving mother and grandmother, if you don't mind, could you send me a guest request because I can't send you one directly? You could hit the blue man in the box instead, the blue and pink man in the box, and then I might be able to bring you up. No problem, Cleopatra. No problem. Let's see. Come on, Trump supporters. Zeus, do you think Trump will run for a 3rd term? I knew I should have purchased more last night. What the heck does that mean? Go ahead, MAGA. Why are you Trump supporters struggling? I'll bring up, I hear Elon has turned on Trump. Yeah, him and Elon, Peter Navarro, they're going at it. It's one of those moments where, someone wrote Zeus's Uncle Tom. User, come on up here, user. Okay, stay strong. Come on up here. One of y'all come on up here. Don't worry. I just need a good minute or two of your morning. All right. I know you're all struggling right now. You're struggling right now to process how things are going to turn out for you. All right, MAGA. And I got some news for you, MAGA. It's not going to end well for you. I know you've been watching Fox News. Scott Bessent, I saw him this morning go on there and try to massage you into making you feel like this is all going to just blow over. And in some cases, they're actually saying, oh, it's just going to be a little 60 days. Do me a favor. Try going to your landlords and telling them you won't have the rent money for 60 days, MAGA. I promise you, it won't end well for you. Go ahead. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a Trump supporter. I'm really trying to give these people the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, Elon did do that. Go ahead. Where are all of my critics and my detractors at this morning? I'm really I got to start it off like that. You got to have your starting off strategy. All right. Put a 1 in the chat if you are a deranged Trump supporter and you believe in Donald Trump still. All right. Good morning. Yeah. I seen them out there. Oh, there you go. Is no more lying and crying liberals. All right, Justin. How about you, Justin? If you don't mind, Justin, could you come on up here, Justin? MAGA. Someone wrote MAGA has no fight. Yeah. All right. Someone wrote, how is the stock market? Yeah, Justin, come on up here or send me a guest request. Where's the grandmother at? Let's see. Who do we have next, ladies and gentlemen? Who do we have next? Who is this LaJola? Who? Jesus. LaJola, good morning. LaJola, are you there? All right, LaJola. I guess that didn't work out. All right, LaJola, you don't go ahead. Any Trump supporters want to come up and let's have this moment together. All right, I'm looking. Lahola. Okay, all right. Lahola. Okay, good. Thank you. Correct, Big Zeus. All right, who do we got? Robert. How about you, Robert? Good morning. How are you? Robert, are you there? Oh, okay, you're good. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, no problem, Robert. Maybe you accidentally sent a request. Well, you know what? We'll go and talk to Takesha. Good morning, Takesha. How are you?
Hey Zeus, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. What's happening out there? It seems like they're quiet this morning.
Well, they need to be, Zeus. They've been making a lot of noise that has amounted to nothing. And now they're at home crying.
Mm.
I thought that it was a flood yesterday because I saw so much water running down the street. And then I looked to my neighbor's house, who's a Trump supporter, and it was tears. It was tears, Zeus. He flooded the neighborhood with tears.
Wow.
We had to open drain pipes and everything just to get the water off the streets for us to be leaving our homes, Zeus.
Really? Wow.
And I said, bless his little tearful heart. But let me say this, Zeus.
Go ahead, Takesha. Go ahead. I mean, it seems like the floor is yours.
Ain't no country calling Donald Trump.
Mm.
And I'm going to tell you how we know. He hadn't named one country.
Nope.
So guess what? No country can come out and say he's lying. That's why he just keep giving a number, and he has not named one country that has called him. Because if he called them people name, they're going to come out with a statement and say he's lying. Zeus, that phone is dried in the Sahara Desert. It ain't getting out one call into the White. Nobody's begging him because ain't nobody studying him.
Wow.
He playing a real dangerous game with China because Xi Jinping, he ain't finna bag down, baby. Trump can give him a 500% tariff and he gonna come back again.
Yeah. W's in the chat for Takesha. She is telling the truth.
Stop trying to play with that man. Gigi ain't studying you.
Yeah. I mean,
Now you want to go without telling me you going to send some drones to Mexico. Leave that later alone.
thank you.
Sit down somewhere. Nobody is scared. Listen, Zeus.
Talk to him.
Ain't nobody scared of Donald Trump but the people that's scared of Donald Trump, which are the people in his own circle that know he got dirt on them that he could tell. Elon and Donald Trump have not fallen out. I'm going to tell you what it is.
What is it?
Elon done got in our system. He done put his own business in places where other contracts was. So now he's set like Donald Trump promised him after giving him all that money for his campaign. Now it's time for him to jump out. He done already did the damage he wanted to do to enrich himself.
Yeah.
So now they're going to act like they fell out so Elon can go.
Oh.
That's all it is.
Oh, so they're doing the ruse right now. Basically, that another attempt to grift his supporters before Elon leaves.
Correct. Wow. You gotta know the game when it's played.
Yeah.
They have played the U.S. like a game of chess.
Wow.
I mean, it's ridiculous how they just set up here and trick, like the Bible said, the very elect of them, the so-called smartest of people. They have tricked and run game on.
Wow. Do you think that honestly, his supporters deep in their hearts know this, what you're saying? Because whenever you get into my show, honestly, I see some of the chat. I don't read it all the time, but you have a way of making them just really get worked up about you, and they start going after you, and you know, and so it's like, well, what's making them feel this way about you? If you're lying, why are they so worked up?
Zeus, you think I'm studying them folks? Them folks know Donald Trump ain't hitting no 15 cents. But they're going to give him an extra quarter to make him seem like he hitting on a little more. Listen, it's already enough. The man is obsessed with Joe Biden.
Thank you.
He jealous of President Obama.
Thank you.
The U.S. is his retribution for rejecting him in 2020. He is trying to destroy this country because he's a narcissist who can't handle rejection.
Yeah.
And that's all this about. There's nothing positive that Donald Trump is doing for the U.S. Name me one thing positive he's done.
W Veronica in the chat. Look at that. Let me go to the chat because I can't think of
Thank
anything.
you.
Does anyone in the chat have an answer to what Takesha is saying? Could you name one positive thing,
One
Don?
positive thing.
Well, because this is necessary, and unfortunately, we've had so many of these conversations. Okay. Someone wrote this. Someone wrote. Oh, and you Dems handle rejection well. Elma, Elma, could you come on up here, Elma, real quick?
Did
You
we
don't.
go to the Capitol on January 6th?
Oh. Oh.
Did we take our barbecue grills and fish fry and go in front of the Capitol and break in and try to stop them from certifying the votes?
Elma,
Did we do that?
I
Zeus, did we do that?
nope,
When Kamala lost, did we go out and protest and act a fool?
nope.
So I feel like we accept rejection pretty well.
All right, W Takesha in the chat. Elma, I gave you an opportunity to come up here and at least try to put a little meat on the bone, but I guess you didn't want to do that. All right. Anyone else besides Elma want to point out something that Donald Trump has done that has been helpful real quick?
Because that was not an answer. Before he got in, y'all was complaining about how high groceries was. Now groceries going up and up and up. And now y'all saying y'all could take a little burn. No, you can't. Put that iron down and stop lying. Y'all just going along because it's Donald Trump. Y'all didn't care about the prices. Y'all just wanted a hateful person back in office. And he keep talking about Sleepy Joe, but you fell asleep in court, Trump. You fell asleep at the funeral. You dozed off at your own, the RNC. You fell asleep. So what are you, dopey? Of the seven dwarfs, what are you, Sleepy? Rip Van Winkle? What are you? And let me tell you this, Zeus. I don't want no report from Walter Reed because I don't trust him.
You don't
Give me a doctor that is not biased to Trump.
Thank you.
And give me the real report. When Walter Reed come out with their report, I don't want it.
Thank you.
Because they're going to be lying.
Yeah, just anything to make Trump seem like he's not as a terrible shape as he is.
Anything to make, just like they tried to lie when he had the virus.
Yep.
That doctor came out with all that. Don't nobody trust them. Because they're going to do whatever he tell them to do. Please keep your report, Trump.
Thank you.
They're going to swear you got the physicality of a 15-year-old. We don't want the lies. Just keep the lies to yourself.
There you go.
I don't even want the medical report, Zeus, because there's no sense in getting it.
Because you obviously, when you hear him bringing up Hannibal Lecter and Joe Biden, almost 100 days into his presidency, it just shows you something's just not quite right.
And repeated itself 2 to 3 times.
Yeah.
And when he was sitting up in there taking a vote on what to call Joe Biden, I said, are these supposed to be adults? In here laughing like they at the comedy club. None of them have any type of maturity about them. And it's really sad that they're all like children on a playground, Zeus.
Wow.
And the bully standing at the top of the slide, giving all them directions on when to laugh and when not to.
No lies detected. Ladies and gentlemen, W's in the chat for Takesha. Before you go, I do have one more question. What do you think about him saying that these countries are calling him up and doing this on his diaper?
Zeus.
Zeus,
didn't I just tell you that phone dried in the Sahara Desert? Ain't nobody calling Donald Trump. Like I said in the beginning, Zeus, if they was calling him, guess what he would do?
What?
Name the countries. Has he named one country?
Nope.
He just keep giving us a number, right?
Yeah, 60
First
to 70.
Went from 50, and the same day they went to 70. Ain't nobody calling Donald Trump. Because if he named one, I'm going to say it again, if he named one country, they going to come out and say he lying. So he can't name them, and therefore, if he ain't giving no names, every country think he talking about somebody else other than them. But in actuality, he ain't talking about nobody because ain't nobody calling. He lying, Zeus. You know, usually he'll come out and give a name. He ain't gave a name. That's how you know he's lying.
Yep.
Anytime his mouth open, he's lying. Anytime his eyes open, he's lying. Anytime he's awake, he's lying. He lied worse than a bearskin rug in front of a fireplace.
No lies detected. Thank you.
You're welcome, sis.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Keisha another huge round of applause.
Y'all have a great day. Thanks for the gift.
No problem. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. So to the Trump supporters that are sitting in the chat right now, again, this is your opportunity to come in front of the American people and express how you feel about the state of affairs in this country. Don't worry. I will keep the guardrails on you because we got to make sure you're telling the truth when you say whatever it is that you're saying. If you are a Trump supporter, please put a 1 in the chat. And what I'll do is I'll bring you right on up here and I'll allow you to express how you truly feel about what's happening right now. But you got to be open and honest with the American people about what's going on. I mean, and again, okay. Ooh, Darren, I think you and I have spoken before. Come on up here. Let's see. Ride or unalive on the MAGA ship. Yeah. Darren, welcome back. You know, I check on these people that come on the show before. I want to check on them because I know at a certain point they're going to be singing a different tune. Darren.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Doing awesome. How you doing today?
Well, obviously, I would be a lot better if we didn't have what's going on happening. But what about you?
Doing fabulous. Working every single day, getting paid, paying bills, living life. Doing good.
So you're not impacted at all about all of this?
Impacted as far as what? Financially?
Yeah, the tariffs.
The tariffs didn't. Actually, my eggs are now $3 for a dozen of eggs. My gas is at $2.89. A lot cheaper than it was 6 months ago.
What state is this?
New York.
Well, a lot of people are saying that you're lying and that what you're saying is false.
Would you want me to take pictures when I go to the store next time? Like, come on, really?
If you don't, I found a photo. I went to the store the other day. Let me see if I can show it to you. The eggs were like $50. All right.
No, never was like that. Even when you said when it was the big, boost in eggs, I think the highest I seen eggs, like I said, I live in New York City, not upstate New York, New York City. So you're talking about 7 and change. I think it was $7.89 was the highest I seen them in New York.
You see that? You see that right there? $48.
I don't know what part he's living in. Maybe.
Oh, that's at Safeway, brother. So
Safeway. That's the gas station. We don't even have those in New York. So he's definitely not from New York.
Okay, no, I'm in California. So I just gave you the example of eggs not really going down. Is there something else you want to try to say? Because here's the thing. I looked on the news today. You drink coffee?
Absolutely.
The price of that is about to go through the roof. And people are getting very upset about that. And some coffee companies are saying, we're not even going to import it because it's getting to be so expensive. What are your thoughts about that? So you don't think that affects you and your bottom line?
No, I drink Bustelo. I got my K-Cups. I put them in. It's now, I think it's $15 for those. Before it was 10. Actually, it went to 17. But that's a luxury. That's something I'm going to continue to work. It's like, listen, it just like anybody else. You got to go with the roll with the punches. So we can't control anything that's going on. Obviously, what's going on right now, it's going towards the better side of it. Like I said, my gas is a lot lower. 6 months ago, it was up to like $3.59 a gallon. Now it's at $2.89. I'll take it. That's what I'm concerned with gas. That's how I get around work.
Normally, Darren, I would be, really like giving it to you, zinging and zag, because it would be easy to do. But I'm really watching how people are reacting to the things you're saying. And a lot of people are just saying you're lying or you could just not really be. You might just be in an insulated part of America where you're just totally not seeing any of this. And
so New York City is isolated then.
Well, either that or you're not being truthful with us because the prices.
I'm out on a daily basis, my brother. I'm telling you. I work every single day. I'm out on the street in every single store. I wouldn't buy anything at Speedway. That's like going to 7-Eleven. You know it's going to be jacked up on all those local convenience stores. But a grocery store? So I never had a problem getting eggs. How about that? When I seen shelves empty around the country, I felt sad for those people. On the same note, I didn't experience that where I lived.
Okay. Okay. So, what is your thoughts about the stock market not really performing well? I mean, people's 401k, some people have lost over 10, in some cases 20% of their retirement, their nest egg. How how should they feel about that? I mean, in your opinion.
I think they should be patient, just like anything else. When the stock's going down, it's a good time to buy stocks, to be honest with you. So if it resets within the next year or 2 years, I'm sure those same people that were a little angry today is not going to be so angry tomorrow because they're going to be making a lot of money.
So it's nothing to panic about.
I don't think it's panicking time at all right
But
now.
the
only
market
people that are panicking are, you see the guys that all they do is they stay home and day trade. They may be panicking because they're living paycheck to paycheck like most stockbrokers. But normal people, that's supplement type of money.
I heard someone in the chat say, "Who has 2 years to wait? 2 years to wait." What would you say to them?
Well, unfortunately, it's part of life. You got to wait. It's not like you could have control anything. So just like the 4 years that I waited for Biden to get out, I waited. I supported my president, my country, regardless of who was the president. And now we're looking for brighter days. That's what hope means.
Well, Obama brought about hope, but now you're saying Trump is doing it. That's interesting.
Well, that was his slogan. He didn't live by it. Words are empty.
Well, you survived Obama and you survived Joe Biden. A lot of people, especially these business owners whose maybe their business depends on like imports from China or another country, they don't have the ability to go 2 years, right? And so they might have to actually, shut down their businesses. And in some cases, these businesses have been around for decades. It's been passed on from one generation to the next. What do you say to those business owners right now who are basically saying, we're going to have to start, cutting people, laying people off, maybe even firing people, or actually might even have to close these doors?
I'll be honest with you, if you really look at the outcome of the last 10 years, I don't think there's going to be stores for our grandchildren to even know what a store is. Obviously, new age with internet, that took a big part of it anyway. You don't even have to have a store. You could just sell on Amazon or TikTok or any other platforms where you don't need a warehouse or employees. That's where it was going to even before the tariffs. And if you look where the tariffs are playing off, we're speaking to right now the EU, right? Zero tariffs, reciprocal tariffs. That sounds pretty fair to me.
But there's still going to be a trade imbalance, right? Like, for instance, I love the coffee example because it's the one thing you and I both agree on. You can't grow that much coffee here in the United States, maybe in Hawaii. But what we're bringing in from Colombia and Brazil, there's always going to be a trade deficit when it comes to coffee, right? So the zero tariffs thing, to me, it's an insult as far as I'm concerned. I just don't understand, Darren, how you all of a sudden became so comfortable paying more in taxes. I just don't understand how you made it to that point. And the only thing that I can think of is you're only accepting it because it's Donald Trump. Isn't that crazy?
It's not a choice of accepting. It's either rolling with the punches and going with the flow. As far as something like coffee, that's a luxury for us to have. We all love it. If it was such a bad thing,
it's a luxury.
Yeah, coffee is definitely a luxury. Dude, most countries can't even drink water, and you're talking about coffee right now. So if that was the case, Starbucks wouldn't be in business. People still going to Starbucks. People still getting the coffee because it's a habit, unfortunately.
I got to give it to you. I honestly, I have to give it to you because you're able to reach to a new level in order to accept what your dear leader is doing to you. One last question, Darren, and again, you're on a smartphone, perhaps. Is it an iPhone or is it a Samsung? Which one do you think?
Samsung.
Okay. Well, you see what they're saying about the potential cost these phones might, cost once these tariffs kick in. You could be paying thousands upon thousands of dollars for that new phone. Is that something you're also willing to swallow with pride, that extra hit financially?
Well, thank God I just bought a new phone, so I'll have this for the next 5 years.
No. Let's just be honest. Are you willing to pay maybe $4,000 or $5,000 for that phone?
I look at it this way. I control my controllables. So anything when you talk about electronics or any type of inflation of any type of luxuries, unfortunately, if it does go up,
the phone,
it's a hypothetical still because it wasn't implemented yet. It didn't make an impact, so it's a little difficult for me to make an opinion on something that didn't happen.
That's a long way away from just saying yes. Say yes. I mean, won't you just
really
say I, Darren, will wholeheartedly swallow a $4,000 hit to my wallet by Donald Trump for this cell phone. Why don't you just say it like that?
But you're expecting disaster. Like I said, the word hope is that hopefully in the next couple of weeks, everything will be settled out and you look at Trump and go, wow, it actually worked. I'm rooting for America. I don't care if it's Trump, Biden, Obama, or whoever else is put in that position.
You're not willing to spend $4,000 to $5,000 for a cell phone.
If I wanted that cell phone, it's more of a want and need. It's a human emotion. So therefore, if I wanted that cell phone, I probably would pay for it.
Well, you need it.
No, I want it. I have a phone right now. I don't need nothing right now. That's why I said, thank God I just bought a phone literally 2 weeks ago.
Oh, but what if, okay, I see how you're operating. All right, well, listen, Darren, you know what I understand so far about you? You know you're selling us a lot of, you know what you're selling isn't really selling. You know that.
I'm not selling it. You're selling me on hypotheticals. It didn't happen yet. When it happens, then we could actually evaluate and see exactly the outcome.
We have people responding right now, billionaires basically responding and saying, Trump, this is the most silliest idea we've ever seen. And these are people who are Trump supporters. I talked about Dave Portnoy. Who else? There's other people on the right that have also put out videos and said this is actually a disaster. It's costing me. But yet you're still up here saying, you know what? I'm going to try to defend Donald Trump to the best of my ability, despite the fact that I can look out here and see that this is a sinking ship. And all of the right-wing content creators are all of a sudden starting to pipe up and say it's a sinking ship. All right. And you're still trying to believe. This is why I say there's something going on with you, bro. You're selling something. It's like you're selling us a junky car, a junkyard car, a lemon. And you see the tires are flat, right? You see the windshield is cracked. The color is not even fully painted, right? There's rust on it. And you're trying to sell it like it's a brand new vehicle. You know what I mean? And you got that smirk on your face. I can hear it in your tone. You know what you're saying is unbelievable, bro.
I guess your assumptions is your own words. That's nothing I even said or even implemented to.
But you wouldn't openly and proudly.
I'm not telling you. I'm telling you I'm content. You're telling me it's going to be a disaster. You're selling me. I'm not buying it though.
No, Darren, you're not content because you would have said, yeah, I'll spend $4,000 on a cell phone. Yeah, I don't mind acknowledging that the price of coffee is going up, and I don't mind doing that. You're now putting it out like, oh, well, you know, coffee is a luxury item. Yeah, we could go without that. Yeah, the cell phones, we don't really need those, but I'm glad I got mine. But you're dancing all around the obvious fact, which is, heck no, you don't want to spend any more.
Scenario.
No, these are
hypothetical.
These are real things that are happening.
Cell phones aren't $4,000 currently right now.
You didn't hear the companies that make the cell phones come out and tell you what they're going to cost?
They're going to be losing money. They know all these rich people, like I even told you. You're talking about all the rich people complaining.
Oh,
yeah, because they're home doing day trades now. It's affecting
So you're understanding rich people are losing money. You understand that?
Are you against rich people making money? I'm confused.
No. Do you understand now that because your argument is now that rich people, you claim they're the ones that are upset right now is because they're losing money. The rich people.
That's what you stated. So I'm just going.
So you don't believe rich people are losing money right now? You think they're making money?
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know their personal portfolios or what they're doing.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to, and I think you saw where I was going with that. That means
a statement, and I just reiterated your.
So
statement.
who's making money right now in your world?
I'm working every single day, so I make money every single day. So I'm able to make money regardless of whatever, if it's sunny or it's cloudy.
No, you're not, Darren. Unfortunately, I gotta call foul. If you're not making money, if the cost of doing business goes up. And you're a business. I look at everybody making money is you're running a business. You got to keep your lights on. You got to go from A to B. You got to take care, right? And what I'm pointing out to you is that because of these tariffs, which we all understand now are an additional tax that we, the consumer, pays, this means everybody's cost of business has gone up. And in some cases, if you were investing, wealth has evaporated into thin air. So newsflash, Darren, you're not making money. In this example, if your coffee that you consider a luxury, if it starts to go up, the moment you buy it, you've just started spending more money than you were spending. So the cost of doing business is going up in your world. So you're not making money.
Well, you're talking on a hypothetical.
No.
It didn't happen.
No, it's happening. The tariffs are now in full force.
So let's see what the cause and effect is. Let's see if it gets rectified in the next couple of days or a couple of weeks.
Okay.
There's a process. That's
Okay.
what my hope is about. There's a process.
Your hope, Darren. I
The
can't.
last 4 years, prices went up.
No,
What was
not like
going on?
no. But I can honestly say this about the last 4 years. I am willing to admit that Joe Biden had a problem with inflation, but it wasn't unique to the United States, right? Every country after the pandemic had to deal with inflation. And that's a situation where I could honestly say it really wasn't Donald Trump or Joe Biden's fault, right? I
Well,
do
truck's
believe
not- the truck is delivering oil. That's why the gas prices went up.
No. There were issues with the supply chains around the world, right? Remember that, and used cars prices spiked, and all of this stuff that happened. This was after the C-19. Only thing I'll say about that is Donald Trump didn't manage it correctly, and it led to more of a disaster as far as I'm concerned. But okay, that and the inflation that came after that is totally different than what's happening now when Trump didn't have to go out and do these blanket tariffs. He didn't have to do this.
But
And
he's
if you
fighting for us. Why should we be tariffed in a country 40%?
no, he's not.
That's not fair. It's
How-
reciprocal
okay.
taxes.
How is he fighting for me when he's making everything cost more?
But this is a process. Like I said, it's not the end result. You can't judge a movie for the first 5 minutes of it. You got to see it to the end to see exactly what the outcome is. And that's what you guys like to do. I don't know what team you're rooting for. I'm rooting for America.
Okay.
Like everything you do is just, oh, bad Trump, bad Trump. I don't have to personally like somebody. If I was going to pick somebody that is going to be the ruthless person to stand up to be the biggest SOB, I'm going to pick Trump. And so would you. And you know it deep down in heart. If you had a manager for your rap business and Donald Trump says he's going to hook you up, you're going to be the biggest Trump supporter in the world because you know he's going to get it done.
You think so?
I know so.
Here's the thing, though. In that analogy that you made, would I be making money hand over fist, or would I
If you
be,
got a-
or would
you
I
got a
be?
deal?
In the example you just gave me, would I be making money or losing money?
How would you lose money if you got an opportunity you never had before?
Well, in this case right now, where you're saying Donald Trump is somehow this guru for expert negotiations, and we be doing all these things together. Right now, everybody's losing money.
You're saying the
Even you, because when you take into consideration that all of the things you love to purchase are going to now start to cost more money, and in some cases have already started costing more money, then you also have to understand, like, yeah, why would I sign up to be in a program ran by somebody who's actually taking money from me and not actually giving me money?
But you're making assumptions. You don't know the end result. None of us know what's going on in the negotiations. Nobody knows what's going on until it gets broadcasted on the news.
Unfortunately, that's not how economists look at things, right? And that's kind of why the stock market is reacting, and that's why the yields are doing what they're doing. There's all signs right now, sir, are pointing towards we're heading towards a recession, and in some cases, it says a depression. I call it a recession depression. And you know that idea that you were somehow going to be able to refinance the national debt at a lower rate, that's actually backfiring too. This, to me, as far as I'm concerned, is a disaster that could have simply been prevented had Donald Trump understood what tariffs are and he actually did his job, right, when it comes to negotiating with the people he thinks there's a problem with, right? He could have done targeted tariffs. I would have said, you know what, the man has a point. But blanket tariffs that cause me, everyday Americans as well, to just start spending way more money just to live, that's terrible news. And you said 6 months to a year, maybe 2-3 years. Absolutely not, bro. A lot of people don't have that kind of time, and you know that. That's why you got the smile on your face while you're saying all of this stuff. So
Like I said, where were you guys complaining the last 4 years?
well, Joe Biden is never a good answer, bro. But listen,
But it's you don't want to hear about Joe Biden. Joe Biden's forgotten now for you guys because you knew it was a disaster.
no. W. Kabir, listen. I'll say.
Your promise.
I'll say this. I'll say this about President Biden. He never did anything like this.
He never did anything.
That's not true. Because at the end of the
The
day,
administration may have signed things. He never signed it.
that's not true either. Because at the end of the day, he did his 4 years. Right? There was pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, it was a beautiful, and it was the envy of the world, the economy that he handed to Donald Trump. You remember that, right, Darren? So you can't you
Little
can't.
laughing stock. You're the president taking poops in front of the King of England.
All right. Well, listen, Darren, you sound like a busy person, and maybe you got to get to work, so we're gonna move it on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Darren. He's struggling. Darren, thank you, Darren, for coming up here and volunteering to let us know how things are going where you're at. But unfortunately, bro, no one buys what you're selling. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. We can't allow people to gaslight us and tell us things are doing great when we see what's going on. Come on, Darren.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
Darren, come on now. Again, you, ladies and gentlemen, just listen to these people when they get up in here and they try to advocate for Donald Trump. They're gonna have no choice but to bring up Joe Biden. They have no choice but to try to bring up Joe Biden, and he knows the answers to my question should have been like, Zeus, no, I'm not spending extra money on anything. All right, the goal was to make the prices go down. W Zeus in the chat. Go back to the box. Good morning, attacking.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. You know, I was looking
How are
at
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing all right. Well, obviously, outside of the obvious, we're doing what we got to do to get this truth out here.
Well, as I was listening to you, I heard another video from a lady. Do you know that we owe foreign countries $7.9 trillion? They own our debt. We owe the money.
Oh.
Why is Donald Trump attacking Japan? They own $1.2 trillion of our debt.
Wow.
China owes probably $1.3 trillion of our national debt. United Kingdom owes about $700 billion of our national debt. Luxembourg owes almost $400 billion of our national debt. And Canada owns $370 billion of our national debt. Why is he attacking people, or countries, I should say, that we owe money to? And why is he crying about the so-called Penguin Island? Why is he crying about the so-called trade war, tariff war? We owe money to these countries. We owe money. I remember when Trump was running for president, and he made a comment about owing money to China. And he made the comment, let's just stop paying them and have them take us to court, and then we'll pay them pennies on the dollar. He made a comment about that.
Wow.
But then again, Donald Trump did that through his personal life, agreeing to a price for the contractor. They finished the job, and then Donald Trump says, I'm not paying you. Court. That's what Donald Trump does.
Wow.
And I think right now, that the Dow is maybe at $100 plus today. Let me look really quick. Let me look.
I haven't looked.
I'm sorry, I lied. At a plus 20, it's 20.85 points. A whole 20. Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just rocking, man. Woohoo! $10 trillion lost in the stock market. And, these people like this guy here and people on the right that we listen to.
Yeah.
They say, oh, this is just fantastic. Let's just buy stock now. It's so low. We can do it. Well, you know what? The average American doesn't have the money to buy the stock just because it's low. You don't have to, and then listening to these people say that, oh, I bought $8,000 worth of stock today. And then another, about 3 hours later, say, I know nothing about stock. How do you say you bought stock, you paid $8,000 for stocks, and then about 3 hours later you say you don't know nothing about stocks?
Because they're hurting inside, right? Because you bought it and you thought it was good, it was already low, but then you see it going lower and you're going,
Well, no,
wow.
they lied. The comment was a lie.
Oh, you think the whole comment was a lie?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
You don't braggadociously say I bought $8,000 worth of stock, and then 3-4 hours later you say I don't know anything about stocks. I need to get some information how to do this stuff. It was a total lie.
Bingo. There you go. I mean, W attacking. That was a good one. So we got people out here pretending they're in the stock market when they're not. That's crazy.
For you people to ignore the fact that Donald Trump is trying to attack our Social Security from the inside, firing people, closing down entities, the phone system, the online system. They're trying to attack the Social Security Department, guys. How many people have to become unalived or become homeless? How many senior citizens have to lose their Social Security before you guys say, I got to stop thinking about him and thinking about other people? Because he's hurting other people. Zeus and I, we're not here just to help a side. We're here to put out information to help everybody who will listen to what we have to say. And Zeus has a bigger platform than I do. But we're here to try to make sure that each and every one of you realize that you have the potential of being harmed if you don't pay attention to what is going on.
Thank you.
We're not here to degrade you, belittle you.
No.
But if you're just going to be plain stupid and ignore the facts,
yeah,
that's on you. But your thought and your actions can harm other people.
Thank you, attacking.
The fact that you ignore certain things can harm other people. And I see this DJ douchebag coming up, wanting to come up. You're gonna probably bring him up. If he comes up, ask him what he thought about Donald Trump ignoring the fact that 4 unalived soldiers came back and he went and played golf. Okay, when he was up the other day, I was trying to type in there to have you say that to him. What will he say? But now that he's heard me say this, he's going to come up with an answer. You watch.
I don't know what he is going to say, but I do believe DJ is, he's going through a spiritual battle right now. But that's something, DJ, I hope you could think about. Yeah, what he's done, what Donald Trump does in terms of the disrespecting our men and women in uniform, it's just more proof that he doesn't care about them.
Well, if you let DJ up and you ask him that question, only because he already knows I put that into your mind.
Well, he heard you. He heard you.
Yeah. He's gonna have an answer this time instead of right off the cuff.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna drop everybody be good, everybody be safe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. W attacking. No lies. No lies detected. I see that some people are getting struggling to handle this broadcast. The MAGA folks are. And the truth is starting to hurt and it's starting to sting a little bit, and they don't like that we're talking about their dear leader. Well, I gave you all a warning at the top of the show. Maybe you didn't hear it. Let me go ahead and repeat it.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Goodbye. Are there any more Trump supporters that are brave enough to get in the box and tell the truth about what's really going on? Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a Trump supporter, and I will bring you right on up here. And hopefully we can get you to give us your perspective on the state of affairs in terms of what's going on in this country of ours that your dear leader is so hell bent on trying to ruin. He's destroying our relationships with our allies. He doesn't really understand what a tariff is, and if he does understand what it is, then this means he's willfully causing harm to the American people. And especially to his supporters, because I know that it is his supporters that are actually not doing so well in this country. If you really look at it, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. All right, Big Indio, did you vote for Donald Trump? Did you vote for Donald Trump? Because you know what, it's something that's going around too, and I might as well. I might as well. Oh, okay. Well, if you didn't vote for him, then it's fine. I understand it. All right. So, what I'm looking for is someone to put a 1 in the chat if you are a Trump supporter, and I will bring you. I'll bring you right on up here. All right, but you got to be willing to be honest with us. Deuce. Good morning. Going once. It seems like we're not getting any connection. Deuce. Deuce, are you there? Deuce isn't there. All right, we'll move on to the next panelist. Let's see. Who do we have? Chloe. Are you there, Chloe?
Yes.
You voted for Trump?
No.
Oh, well then how can we help you this lovely morning? I was looking for a Trump supporter.
Oh, well, you go ahead. I'm in the hospital right now, and I
Well,
don't want to get
okay.
myself upset, so I'm
Don't.
all ears
Okay,
right
all
now.
right, all right, all
Okay?
right. Thank you. W's in the chat for Chloe. All right. What we don't want you to do, we really don't want you to get up in there and do anything that's going to get you worked up. Someone says, bring Annie up. Annie, where's Annie at? I don't see Annie. Hey, Annie, are you there, Annie? Annie, send us a guest request, Annie. Seems you've became quite popular in the chat, and I don't mind. Annie, are you there? I don't see Annie. I don't see Annie. Annie, are you there? Put a Annie, are you okay? Okay. I see Annie. Okay, thank you, Annie. Come on up here, Annie. W Rick in the chat. Annie, I sent you an invite. All you got to do is hit accept, and you will be liberated. All right. I sent you an invite. Okay. Oh, we got Annie. W to the chat. You found Annie. Hi, Annie.
Hello. How are
Uh,
you doing?
I'm all right. You voted for Donald Trump?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So what did you think got people so excited about bringing you up here? What were you saying in the comment section, if you don't mind?
Thank you, Donald Trump. And
Oh,
then after that, I just put ones. I think it was
oh,
because I was insistent that you see I was watching you, and my one went by,
okay.
and then there you go. So here
Okay,
we
got
are.
it. Got it. What part of America are you in?
I'm in Florida, Central Florida.
Okay, all right. So, why did you say thank you? Is there something he's done that you just feel is like really got you in the clouds about him right now? What is it? Because I don't see it.
Okay. Well, they are now. This is going to probably blow your mind, but
I've heard a lot of
they're
things, Annie. Please try me. Let me see.
okay. Okay. All right. They're taking down domes all over the world. There's an alliance. I think it's 9 different
They're taking
countries that
down what?
they're taking down the deep state, to put
Oh,
it specifically. Okay. This is a military operation that's been going on since President Kennedy was president. Okay. You can go back to 1963 on YouTube and
okay.
hold on.
Okay, yeah, Annie. Because we don't want to get into that. All right. I'm more.
Well,
I'm
what do you
more.
want to get
Oh,
into? Okay.
thank you
What?
for asking me. We're in 2025 right now, and the stock market isn't doing
And
that
it's
well.
coming to an end. And
Huh?
this operation that I was trying to explain to you is coming to an end.
But
President Trump and 9 other presidents, or he did the
but Annie,
capitulation tour.
I get that. I've heard the story before, Annie. But if it does go that direction, what does that turn out? How does that impact you, if you don't mind?
Okay.
What's going
Okay.
to
Well,
happen to you?
the
Huh?
tariffs. Okay. at least 9 countries have already capitulated and said we will go 0 tariff.
What 9
Okay,
countries? I'm writing them down because you're the first person that I heard give me this
I
list of
don't know
countries.
the
Because
9
he
countries
actually
off the
said it
top of
was
my head.
60. He said it was 60 to 70 countries. So you're only giving me
Might
9,
be now. It
huh?
might be now. When I see a document and read it, I don't memorize the
Okay. So what I'll
dates.
do, Annie,
Okay.
is this. I'll put instead of giving you the points, I'll leave it open and I'll just leave a question mark until we get that information. Fair enough?
Oh my gosh.
Be-
Okay, well, let me tell you something. What President Trump is doing, he's doing for me, for you, for all the kidnapped children that have been taken out of these deep underground
Okay.
military bases, thousands and millions
Annie.
found in pieces.
Annie,
The
please,
military
Annie, this
said,
is TikTok, please, Annie. We can't do any of that. But if you care,
oh,
if you care about the
well,
kids, Annie, if you,
TikTok doesn't like the truth,
yeah, they don't,
obviously.
not that kind of truth, if you don't
Well,
mind.
what kind of
But
truth are you
Annie,
allowed to
oh,
tell? Give me
thank
a
you for,
specific
thank you for
answer.
asking, Annie. Could I ask you this? If he's trying to protect children, why would he be separating children from their mothers and their fathers with these mass deportations? And that's as far as
Well,
we can go. I
okay,
can't do anything
you're
else
talking about
beyond that,
families.
but you get what
You're
I'm saying?
talking about families, right?
I'm
Families.
talking about like the Alien Enemies Act and these random things he's doing, showing up at
No,
schools.
you said that he's separating children from their
That
families.
that's truth.
Okay, let's leave it right there. Okay.
Boom. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
here's
you.
what he's doing. Here's what he's doing. Those people have the option to go with them. And those people that have been here 20, 30 years, can't even speak English, don't have documentation, get in trouble, they're out of here. You know why?
But
Because they had 30 years to get it right. I would say no other country in the world.
Annie, I think you're missing something very important. It still doesn't take away from the fact that there's a young child or a young
They
little
can go
girl.
with them.
No, no,
Coleman said, yes.
no, no, no.
Coleman said they can go with them when they
Oh,
leave. They're not going to arrest them.
but
Do you
Annie,
get arrested
but
for
Annie,
DUI and your kids in the back seat? They haul them to jail with you because you
An-
can't separate.
Annie,
Your
Annie.
points are so ridiculous.
But Annie, can I slow you down because you're moving way too fast for me. I just want to point out that the I just want to keep it real clear in both of our heads though that while those options may be available in a lot of situations, those options aren't being offered, right? And so what you have going on in this country right now are children
Who
being
said they weren't being offered?
well,
You? CNN? Come on now.
well,
Give
but
me a name. Who said they weren't being offered? Where are you getting this
well,
information?
the court
Tell me
records,
that.
the court
Tell me
records,
that.
the court records.
The court records say that. Oh my gosh.
Annie, but Annie, the reason I'm being this patient with you is because I really do understand you believe what you believe.
You're daggum right, I do.
And I'm
The
trying,
deep state is trying to
no,
turn this into a one world government.
Annie,
TikTok kicks you off for it. Tough shit. These people are nuts.
Annie, if
These
you don't
people are
mind,
literally nuts.
Annie, hold on. I'm gonna get you a
What do you
lifeline.
prefer? What do you prefer?
Hi,
Let
Annie.
everybody come in? How many?
Hi,
We
Annie.
didn't
I'm
have
gonna
this
bring up
before.
someone that could probably help me out. Annie, would you be okay if
Yeah,
we
you're
at
gonna
least?
need some help.
Okay, I'm
Jump
so.
on it. Bring them in.
Okay, she's right here. My good friend Kabira. Hi, Kabira. How are you doing?
Good morning, Zeus. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm trying to help Annie understand that perhaps Donald Trump isn't who she is saying he is,
Ah.
and
Well,
I'm
good
wondering.
morning. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just
If I
wondering if
could
you could
help
probably
out
help her.
some.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on, Miss Annie? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm
Okay.
blessed.
That's right. That's right. We all are, hopefully. Hey, look, so you were talking about the children, right? Donald Trump cares
Right.
for the children, correct?
Right.
What do you think about 2 weeks ago, he closed down and cut the funding for what is it? USDA. Now you know what that is, right?
USAID?
USAID
No,
and the
not
Department of
USAID.
Education. Yeah, he did
I'm
Okay.
those.
talking about for the food Department of Agriculture.
Oh, the
Now we
USDA,
know
yeah.
the Department of Agriculture feeds the children. That's where they get their school lunches, right, and their school breakfasts, right? So
Absolutely.
Thank you.
if he cares about the children, why would he cut that department
He
down?
didn't.
Also,
He
hold
didn't.
on, Miss Annie,
Okay,
one
wait, let's
second.
do one point at a time. So
Okay, I'll
okay.
give you that
He
point.
did
Why
not,
did he close
he
that
did
down, Miss
not,
Annie?
he did not take food away from the children. He got RFK in there who was going to change the food for the children because everything in our food is chemicals. So, and
Annie,
then
Okay,
he's changing, he's not, he's
hey
putting
Annie,
the Department of Education back to the states where it never
but
should have left.
oh my
Thank you.
goodness.
You know
okay,
who
but
did that?
Annie, if you
Who?
don't mind, but we already know what you're saying, right?
No,
It,
you don't. You
yeah,
don't know Jack, or
no,
you
we've
wouldn't
heard
be
this,
acting like you do.
Annie.
Don't
We've
tell
heard
Miss
me you
we've
know.
heard this
Miss
before, but we're trying to get you to
Oh,
answer some
you
of the.
just don't believe it. Oh, you
Miss
just got to
Miss
change
Annie,
my
Miss
mind and make
Annie,
me
Miss
be a
Annie. So
Shiva.
I let you give your answer. So let me
Okay,
give
go
my
ahead.
response.
Thank
Okay.
you, Annie. Thank you.
So Robert Fitzgerald Jr. Kennedy, whatever, right?
Yeah,
He
whatever.
he's
Good
over
guess.
he's over health and human services. That has nothing to do with feeding children. He's not over the Department of Agriculture, okay? He's over health and human services, right?
You know
So
what health and human
hold on one
services
second,
does?
Miss Annie. I want you to look that up,
Okay,
or
go ahead.
you find someone that you trust, look that up, and you'll see that I'm correct on that
Ma'am,
one.
I
All
research
right?
everything. I've got 40,000 hours. 40,000 hours. I'm 71. I've been
Oh,
researching everything.
but
Everything. You people are just totally
Miss Annie,
brainwashed. I'm
Miss
Miss
sorry.
Annie,
Annie,
Go ahead. Go
Miss
ahead.
Annie, you're
Ask me a
crashing.
question.
yeah, Miss
You're
Annie, come on.
crashing.
I'm crashing. No,
You're
I'm
ready to
talking.
respond without listening. If Robert F. Kennedy is over health and human services, what does that have to do with the what is it, USDA,
Yeah, the Department of
right? United States
Agriculture.
Department of
Okay.
Agriculture. It has
Can I
nothing
answer
to do
you?
with it.
Can I have,
He's
can I
supposed to be over
answer
our
you?
health.
You're
He has
answering for
nothing to
me.
do with our
You
food,
are
Miss Annie.
answering for me. He has nothing to do with it. No, you asked me a question. Now you're answering the
Oh,
question you asked me. Are you going to let me answer it? Yes, he is over Health and Human Services. But let me tell you something. They work hand in hand with the Department of Agriculture, with the DOJ. Trump's uh, cabinet, it works together, and Department of Health and Human Services is going to change the menu in the schools. They're in charge of the health of the children. If you knew who he was and what he stood for, then you'd understand this.
but
He's changing the food. He's getting all the chemicals out. He's getting out of the food, out of the grocery stores, out of the farms, all this stuff they're putting in
Well,
everything.
Miss
He's
Annie, I got
getting
a
rid of it.
question for
And
you.
he's a jerk
If
because
he's
he's
doing
for
all of
Trump.
that, what are we gonna eat?
He's real food. You
But
you know
if
what?
he so we're supposed to have nothing until all of this mess gets cleared up. That's what you're telling me.
You have nothing now. You
So
can
we'll
eat.
have no
You know
food in
what?
the
I don't
grocery
eat jack.
stores,
I don't
no
drink
food in the
soda.
grocery stores, nothing in McDonald's until it all
Are you
gets cleared out.
serious?
but
That's
she's
how
Well, that's
y'all
what you
think.
said.
Annie.
You, he's
How?
been doing this since he got in. Have you been to Walmart, Publix, Winn-Dixie? They all got stuff on the shelves.
But
He
that's
is implementing these changes. Can you get that into your head? He's implementing changes.
but
This doesn't happen overnight. They're not going to take away the
so how long?
food.
How long?
He
How
didn't do
long?
that to the eggs.
Annie, how long should the children suffer through this implementation phase? Because remember how we got here. Your claim is Donald Trump is trying to help kids, and the examples Kabir
How
is
long?
giving.
Oh,
There's several
where
examples.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you
Because you're,
something.
I don't want
Where
you to.
did
I don't
you
want you.
hear?
Huh?
I get to ask a question. Where did you hear that uh, the kids aren't getting fed in school? What school? Name one school where the kids aren't eating every day.
Well, you want me to
Nothing's
cite
changed. This is
what?
Go
all
ahead,
going to be.
Zeus.
Okay,
You
how
will
about
never understand
Annie,
because
Annie, Annie,
hate Trump. That's it.
Annie? I've spoken to a lot of people who have children that might be receiving, welfare and food stamps, and those programs are getting cut. So if I
Hundred
give
and
you
what?
if I give you that person, if I because I can ask someone to come up here and come up here. If they come
Jump
up,
on it. Jump
no,
on it.
Annie, but Annie, before I do that, if someone is able to come up here and give you the evidence, will you then stop doing and saying this kind of stuff? Because the goal here, Annie, is not for us to beat you up and bash you because you're spreading
Trust
misinformation.
me, I'm used to people like
The
you.
the goal
I see
here,
them every day. If you say something to them, if they're standing in front of you, they start screaming right away. They do not want
Like
to
you're
have a
doing, right?
conversation.
but because
I'm,
Annie,
I'm
it's like
sorry,
this,
man.
Annie.
I'm sorry.
It's Annie. It's like this. Imagine this: your house is on fire. Would you want someone to come up to you and go, "Hey, Annie, your house is on fire," or would you want them to go, "Annie, get out of the way, your house is on fire"? Which one do you think would be more effective?
What kind of question is that? What kind of stupid question is that? Jeez, I don't get that point at all.
Okay,
All
because
I'm
you're
telling you,
accusing us
you
of just
people are
yelling.
fixing to
You,
get
you,
a
you- you're
wake up
accusing us
call.
of yelling, Annie, and we're trying to say we're way past politely
They're
going and ask.
screaming. They're screaming in my face.
Why do
70-year
you?
old man screaming in my face because, did you say Trump? Yeah, I like Trump. Bah, right off the bat. I've seen videos of people knocking people's Trump hat off. This is your side, honey. You're violent. They have
Okay.
riots. They burn cars.
So
Burn
Annie,
Teslas.
If
Okay?
Annie, can I
We're
stop
gonna
you right
prove
there,
to you.
Annie,
Do
if you don't mind,
Republicans do that?
Annie,
Go ahead.
if you don't mind, if you want to make that argument, then you know where this is
Get
heading.
your other person on the
It's going to go to January 6th. Was January 6th a peaceful protest from the way you saw it, or did that involve some violence and stuff like that?
No, what that was Biden and Pelosi put together this scheme. They had 120 FBI agents. That was an FBI agent.
All right.
And yeah,
I got her,
okay, all
Zeus.
right. I've seen
Huh?
the videos, honey.
I got
I've
her.
seen the
Okay, you got her.
documents. I've
All
seen
right,
the
because
proof where they admit it.
Annie,
They admit it.
Annie,
Yeah, you won't
Annie,
let
can
me.
you listen
talk
real quick,
about other
Annie?
people talking, Annie, and not letting anyone else say a word. Hold on
You
one
asked me
second.
a question. I'm telling you an answer.
You answered it. Okay, so
Thank
look,
you.
This
Annie.
was a coup
If,
by
if,
the deep
oh,
state.
here we
Wake
go.
up.
Annie,
Wake up.
Annie, I don't.
Somebody's done a damn thing to nobody.
Annie, I gotta do it.
Annie.
I had to hit mute on you, Annie, for a quick second because what I don't want to do is have you get your blood pressure worked up too much on my show.
Okay, Annie. So my question to you is this. I'm not gonna go with the logical one, like Antifa and all that stuff. If it was Biden and Pelosi and the deep state and the FBI and everybody else you said, why would they stop their own certification? Why would they send people up there to stop their own certification?
Annie, could you hit unmute, Annie? I just sent you the request, and I'm doing this to keep you calm while on the show because I don't want you to do anything that might, make you embarrass yourself, so to speak.
Oh, I'm not embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for the people that believe what y'all are saying.
But
That's
Annie,
who I'm embarrassed for. I'm
Annie,
sorry.
Annie, Kabir and I, we're probably some of the most fairest Democrats you will ever speak
Oh, I
to.
know you are very calm, but
And so
this
this
is the first time I've been on one of these shows, but I tell you right now,
yeah,
it's not the first time I've been paying attention.
but Annie, we just want to make sure before you go that everything you said is wrong. You got to know this. And
You
I don't know.
think so. You're not going to change my mind, doofus. I'm sorry. Ain't going to happen. You're going to find out. You're fixing to get a rude awakening. You and the people that you push this crap on are fixing to get a
You on
rude
Social
awakening.
Security, Annie?
How can I get
Annie, are you on?
I'm a veteran too.
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
so you're
Well,
about to get you might have no Social Security.
you're crazy as hell. You are crazy. I'm going to get a raise. Okay. Doge is taking down the
Okay,
corruption.
I know.
Wait by the mailbox, Annie.
I'm not waiting anywhere. When it happens, it
You
happens.
waiting on that
I know
Doge
it's
check.
going to happen.
Guess who I
because
just brought up? I just brought Val
You
up. Hey,
watch
hey,
CNN
Annie,
for 30
Annie,
minutes
hey,
and
hey.
you know more than I do.
Hi, Annie.
Jump on it.
Annie, I brought my friend Val up. Hey Val, how are you? Annie, you're in a hurry. I understand, but Val, could you help her understand why her Social Security might be at risk, brother?
Because Doge doesn't believe in Social Security. He calls it a scam.
No, he doesn't.
Ponzi scheme.
Annie, please let up.
Sir, hold on.
Annie,
Look,
please.
I have 40,000 hours paying attention. Shut up and listen.
Annie,
you don't. No, ma'am. I just came up here.
I just, please.
Yeah, I just.
Annie, just listen, please,
Yeah.
Annie.
I just came up here, Annie, and I'm actually going to speak right now without being spoke over.
Thank you.
Because what you are doing right now is called gish galloping. You might want to look that up. Okay, and what you are also doing right now is putting out a very large level of Russian propaganda. Okay, and you don't even understand why you're that way. It's because you're only getting your information from memes and videos on YouTube's and not real reporting. This is where you're at right now, Annie. And so you are truly an enemy to the country as you talk right now. Because everything you're saying is untrue. First off, on the food. He can't change what the FDA does. He can put those things forth, then they have to go through Congress. Congress has to approve them, and they have to come through appropriations in a bill, and then signed by the president. He just can't go to the FDA and say, hey, no, we're going to make this change now. It doesn't work that way, Annie. It's not how our government works, and it's not how it's ever worked. As far as children in school and what they eat in their school, ma'am, if you have a problem with what your kids are eating in school, you would actually go to your state representatives. Because the state controls what happens in their schools, not the federal government. The Department of Education is there to help fund, but how the state uses those funds is up to the state. Annie, you've got a lot of learning to do before you come up on a panel like this and try to talk about things. I mean, the amount of misinformation that came out of your mouth in the last 10 minutes is insane.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to subject the audience to this, but again, I do this because we got to get our tolerance level up, because this battle we got to do out here in the real world is way worse than what we're dealing with on TikTok. These folks really believe this stuff. She said, Val, my Social Security, she's getting a raise. Can we address that part? Because there's a lot of people that
getting a raise right now, Annie. There's no one, Annie, getting a raise right now. We're minus close to 15% in the stock market. We're losing GDP, which means people will start to get laid off. And as people start to get laid off, ma'am, money slows down in the Social Security fund because there's nobody working to pay it.
And don't they got to make cuts to the Social Security budget, Val?
And they have to make cuts to the Social Security budget. And we also need to create legislation to get payments that are owed to the Social Security budget back.
You hear that, Annie? Now, Annie, if you don't mind, I'm going to hit unmute real quick. And I'm so sorry to do the muting thing, but it's very important we have the serious conversation about these things so that people walk away understanding what's really going on. So Annie, you can hit unmute if you don't mind. I don't like doing the mute thing, honestly. I would prefer people to just control themselves. All right, Annie. So thank you for letting Val respond.
Yeah.
You heard what he said, right?
Val.
Huh?
Yeah, I heard you.
So
say, Annie, I'd like to say this, and then I'm a go. Like you, I just started getting my full Social Security in July of this year, and I'm about 4 or 5 years younger than you. Okay, so that COLA raise, it happened in January, so you won't be getting a COLA raise. Okay, all I'm saying to you, my friend, is this: both of us being senior citizens, right? Both of us depending on Social Security, and I don't know if you have a 401k. I do.
I get military too.
Yeah, okay, that's great. All I'm saying is, sister, just prepare. You know, you heard the old expression since you came up with me during the same time frame. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. It's best to have it than not need it than to need it and not have it. So just be prepared, Annie, and be ready, and don't dismiss everything as, you know, like Val said, check other
You
sources.
know what? Every time I try to tell y'all something, you shut me down and say I don't know what I'm talking about. So, you know, I'm going to follow you just so that when it does hit the fan, I'm going to come back and say, what say you now? Because this is going to
Ma'am,
benefit you,
can you
your
tell me what
family.
about,
Who's doing
ma'am, can you tell me what about has happened since April 2nd is not S hitting the fan?
what happened April 2nd that you're concerned about?
Since April 2nd, our GDP has dropped and our stock market has lost 15%.
You know
Okay, now hold
why?
on, ma'am. I want to make
Tell you
sure
why?
you understand what
Well, you
that
know what
means.
they
What
are.
are those
I
indicators of,
understand.
ma'am? Do you even know what those are indicators of?
It's an indicator that President Trump took $300 billion from 10 different billionaires. That's what it means.
No,
He
ma'am.
broke
No,
them
ma'am. That
down
means
big
none of that.
time. Okay,
It means none
okay,
of that,
okay.
ma'am. Those are indicators of a recession. And now JP Morgan Chase has put out that we're you know, when I want you to understand this. We were 20% chance of a recession when he took office. We were at 40% chance of a recession at 35 days into his administration. Now we are at 60% chance of a recession.
I don't know where you get
Hey,
your
Zeus.
research.
From
I'm sorry.
from economists.
Zeus.
Yes.
Where on
I have Fresno.
Yeah, this
Hold
is
on,
a
Annie.
local
Annie, hold on.
Hey Annie, I think so Annie, remember earlier you were asking me to find proof that children are being harmed?
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't mind, attacking has that proof, and then after he plays it, I just want your honest reaction. All right.
Okay, Annie, so what I have here is I have from Fresno, California, the Fresno School Board talking about USDA and their funds. Excuse me, Annie, hold on. Removing the funds from this food supply. So just listen to what they say.
Today, Democratic Congressman Jim Costa gathered Valley leaders to sound the alarm. Action News reporter Brianna Willis joins us live from the office of the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools with how Costa and local educators claim the end of these programs will impact Valley kids and farmers. Brianna?
Well, Warren, Fresno Unified says in their district alone, these programs serve thousands of meals per day for students. But local leaders are also really concerned about the impact on small rural districts and the impact this could have on students who rely on the fresh food on their tables.
The administration, President Trump, decided to cut over $1 billion with a B, from local food purchase programs.
These programs are the Local Food Purchase Assistance Cooperative Agreement Program, also known as LFPA, and the Local Food for Schools Program, or LFS. They were started in the wake of the pandemic to fund the purchase of foods produced locally. At the time, the USDA says the goal was to address food insecurity and support local farmers.
Without the federal funding, Fresno County schools and food banks will struggle to maintain locally sourced meal programs, forcing many of our school districts to scale back fresh food offerings or seek alternative funding sources.
Fresno Unified received nearly $500,000 during the 2022 to 2023 school year that was used to buy fresh produce, organic meats, and more. In the district, meal programs help around 90% of students who are facing significant economic challenges.
For many of our students, the meals they receive at school aren't just a part of their day, they are a lifeline. They fuel learning, engagement, and growth.
But in a statement, the USDA says school meals will continue to be funded, but these pandemic-era programs are no longer needed. Saying in part, quote, "This isn't an abrupt shift. Just last week, USDA released over $500 million in previously obligated funds for LFPA and LFS to fulfill existing commitments and support ongoing local food purchases. With 16 robust nutrition programs in place, USDA remains focused on its core mission, strengthening food security, supporting agricultural markets, and ensuring access to nutritious food, end quote. Congressman Costa's office says more than 500 small farmers in California, including 100 from the Valley, have benefited from these programs.
The termination will have significant impacts for farmers in rural communities, scrambling to find new markets, to figure out where to send the food they've already planted, to figure out what to do with the seeds they've purchased or the equipment they've already purchased. And it will also mean 39 million fewer meals for hungry families.
And it is important to note food.
39 fewer meals. Did you hear that? Okay. They're affecting the school kids, Annie.
That's him saying that. Where's
I'm
he
sorry,
getting that?
Annie. It's the school.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Annie, your mouth goes.
Hold on. We got to be gentle with Annie because she's getting there. Annie?
The school board is saying that, Annie. They're the ones saying it. The school board.
So
Yeah,
Annie, remember earlier before I asked you, I said if I brought someone up and they gave you this information, would you at least reconsider your?
No, because I listened to what they were saying, and I tried to get you to stop it. Now it's too far gone. I can't remember what I was going to say.
Well, let me see if I can give it. Let me see if I can.
They aren't taking any. Nobody said they were taking any food from kids.
Yes, they did.
This
They're
is
taking the
bullshit
funds.
from the Democrats.
They're taking the
This is
funds
their-
away, Annie. They're taking the funds away.
They're taking funds, yeah, for programs that were
Supply
during COVID.
food.
They don't need them anymore.
Yes, they do, man.
COVID's over. Get a break. Get
So
a break.
Annie,
COVID's over.
maybe this will jar.
Those kids will still get fed.
Annie.
There are programs to feed the
Annie,
kids. You guys just have to turn everything into evil. Evil, evil, evil.
Annie,
It's all evil.
Annie, can I say this to you? Can I say this, Annie? What?
In a calm voice, yeah, because then you're not sounding
Zeus, can I say
evil.
something real quick, please?
Sure.
We don't need to be nice to Annie. This is what we need to start understanding. People like Annie that are so lost, that are out here spreading misinformation that is actually dangerous to the public of this country.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
and
follow
Annie,
you.
I'm not done talking
I'm
to you
gonna
because
get off
I
of
am
here
not
because
going
I
to be
think
nice
I've
to
heard
you.
enough
Get
of your
this straight.
bullshit.
Okay, I am
I'm
not
gonna-
going to be nice to somebody that wants to come up onto a panel, spread misinformation that is so dangerous to this country, dangerous to
No,
our
you're
children,
the one
dangerous
spreading the
dangerous to our
misinformation.
allies in the
Turn
world.
me off
I
it.
am done with people like you. People like you that do nothing but spread misinformation about what's actually going on in this country today, about what we're actually facing economically in this country today, about how communities are being hurt in this country today, and want to continue to come up and defend it after we have lost 65% of Americans have lost an average of $30,000 per working American in their 401ks. Ma'am, you are not just dangerous, you are blind.
And and Val, you could go places I can't go because when I do that, these TikTok gods, they get Big Zeus. But I understand your frustration. So Annie,
Hey, Zeus.
we're at judgment, Annie. I gotta move it on.
Zeus.
Yes, Attack.
I have the guy who's the head of Social Security, who said basically that with the way Elon Musk and Donald Trump is handling Social Security, what they're doing is in a couple months, people are going to start losing their payments. Would you like to hear the guy? That's
Yeah.
head of Social
If you could
Security?
give Annie one last treat before we get to judgment, I don't mind. Yes, if Annie, this is for your Social Security, all right? And Annie, when I get to the judgment phase of this, and I hope you're following Big Zeus, Annie, because I've ran into people like you who are now on the path of rehabilitation. Go for it, Attacking.
Now this is the head of Social Security, Annie.
Madam Co-Chair, Leader Jeffries, thank you very, very much for pulling together this hearing and for focusing our attention on this very imminent threat to a program that has never missed a payment in 90 years. For 73 million Americans, half of all seniors who live alone, over 65, Social Security is the only thing that separates them from living in dignity or living and dying in poverty. For 73 million Americans, it's a lifeline. Not only retirees, but also people who unfortunately have suffered a disability, can no longer work, and for a lot of kids who receive supplemental security income with severe disabilities. I had the honor, as
Oh,
he
she
said,
left.
men and women, and I watched
Oh,
them
did
rally.
she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Annie, that's what you call an overwhelming amount of truth designed to basically fry your circuit board and hopefully wake the MAGA demon up. Ladies and gentlemen, Annie, I got to warm up the lake of fire for you. Annie, what I do is we got to cast the MAGA demon out. Every lie you told, like Val said, it's dangerous to get up here and say stuff like that. And this is why America is currently in the situation it is. You might be a good person, Annie, but when that MAGA demon does that number on you like it does, you're not such a good person. So what we're going to do is judgment time. Hey, Annie, time to go to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
I tried my best to salvage her, but unfortunately, she just didn't want to. She didn't want to learn. But I did hear her say she gave us a follow. W in the chat to the panelists. W in the chat to all of the panelists. That was an outstanding play we just ran.
Zeus, I'll say this to Annie if she's in the bottom. I put a follow on her.
Okay.
Is when her Social Security is being cut and she's depending on her retirement from the Department of Defense, right? She might want to reconsider her thinking because the USDA also gives food to food banks, right? So people who, the lower income people, they go there to get the extra beans, corn, tomatoes, whatever they need. It may be a bag or two, but it's something. So she may find herself in that position. Just know this, Annie, you're cutting your own throat. It doesn't hurt to listen and pay attention.
That part.
They're taking away the funds for the food banks too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The USDA, the food banks and the schools.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you get money,
that's
if
what
you
she-
get food from a food bank starting this next fiscal year, it's going to be because of donations from the people
And
in
the,
the
and the
neighborhood.
homeless goes to food banks.
Exactly.
All right.
So
all right, you all.
That's all I
Listen.
got for you, Zeus.
Val, last closing remarks, Val, before we go. And then
the rhetoric from people like Annie is the most dangerous.
It
And
is.
I'm not going to go as far as say she might be a good person. With that type of rhetoric and that type of language, she is absolutely not a good person. That ends that right there, because we cannot, as a country, allow that kind of rhetoric to spread. That is the problem with people like her. That is, I don't mind having reasonable conversations about policies or things like that, but that conversation right there was so far down a rabbit hole, you can't dig yourself out.
That part. W, Val. That's why it's always nice to have such a strong panel. All right, attacking in you before we move it along.
Well, that's why Zeus is Zeus, Val. You and I, we cut them off at the knees. Zeus heals their wounds.
W attacking, because when I do what you do, the show just goes into so I'm doing what I got to do. But you know what? I appreciate having strong soldiers.
I'm trying to grow up to be more like you.
No, do what you do, but you let me do what I do. And again, this is what makes the Democrat Party so good, right? We're very different in terms of our approach, but we all mean well by what we're doing. And so I have no problem deferring when it's out of my wheelhouse, so to speak. All right. That's just how it has to be. All right. But we all love our country.
Yeah.
Hey, Zeus.
Yes.
She's gonna be that lady on that video clip I sent you of those people when and you know that video clip I sent you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were waiting for Mag, and then all of a sudden the tariff. Yeah,
Boom!
that's gonna be her.
Yeah, she's going to be, but I promise you, she is thinking about all the stuff we said to her, and whatever stuck inside of her, it's going to be rolling around inside of her, and she's going to start to wake up as soon as these prices start to really do a number on them. It's happening all over the country. You wouldn't believe it. All right. But again, thank you all so much. I'm going to move it along. All right.
All right.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. W again to all the panelists. That was amazing. That was amazing. All right, let's go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and move it along. Oh, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Who do we got? My good friend, who is this? Ari. Welcome, Ari. How are you doing, my good friend? Long time no see.
Hey, give me just 1 second.
No problem. We'll give you just 1 second. All right. That's just 1 second right there. W's in the chat for Ari. This is, I don't get to talk to Ari that often, but she hosts her own lives. Very incredible work she's doing. She's standing in the gap. All right. Trying to get this truth out here, just like each and every single one of us. And, it's just impressive, ladies and gentlemen, all the people that I've met along this journey. All right. All right. Let's see. Who do we got next? Okay. I think Ari's over there. She's getting it ready. Oh, there she is. There you go, W, Ari.
Why the green screen's not doing it right, but hey. So I wanted to go ahead. I didn't really need Annie up here. I think I've actually spoken to her before. But a lot of people seem to not have known that the Senate actually voted on the House budget bill Friday night into Saturday. And there's some things about it. That, so it has to go back to the House for a vote for a reapproval because they added amendments. So when we look at the ones, it's there's some interesting ones that don't even make sense. So if you guys go to House Continuing Resolution 14 on Congress.gov and you go to Actions, you can see every amendment that the senators proposed to try to make modifications. And a lot of them make sense. There was one in particular that I didn't understand why they would vote it down. And it was one of the first ones that was suggested. When I read it to you, you're going to understand like exactly where they're coming from on it, like why they did it. So let me find it again.
See, this is what it's all about. We want the information so we can all be as informed as possible. Right? Isn't that a good thing?
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
We all need the information. It's crazy that we don't have enough of it.
We shouldn't blindly support a person simply because we like their personality, right? Otherwise, we're going to end up where we're at right now, right? Going straight into a depression.
Oh, we're probably going to get there real soon. So this was proposed by Senator Warren on April 4th. Relating to strengthening protections for the members of the armed forces by prohibiting the use of any commercial messaging application to transmit information revealing the timing, sequence, or weapons to be used during impending United States military operations in foreign countries that may endanger the lives of the armed forces. Can you tell me why that got voted down?
Wow, they voted it down. Isn't that something?
They voted it down. Yeah. The Republicans in Congress voted against it. Why would we not want to protect our military armed forces that are deployed overseas? But they care about the military, right? This is the party of the military.
See, now I'm getting worked up. I'm getting worked up.
For somebody in the comment that said Hegseth did that, yeah.
Signalgate.
There's a couple about Social Security. Which is what kind of goes back to the whole fact that, they are not doing anything to get it. Or they're not doing anything to keep it healthy. This one was Senator Ossoff out of Georgia. Relating to reversing cuts to the Social Security Administration, which may include cuts ordered by DOGE or any other cuts to senior services. Voted down again.
Oh, Annie.
Yep. Remember, this just proves that the executive order that Donald Trump wrote saying he was going to protect Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid means absolutely nothing. There was another one that says to prevent DOJ from closing Social Security offices, preserving access to benefits for seniors and people with disabilities, also voted down. And then the last one with Social Security is to preserve access to Social Security's phone service.
Wow.
Just the call number. Voted down.
W. Rick. So,
good job, Rick.
In other words, Ari, Annie is she's grossly misinformed. Some would use stronger language, right? But nothing she said was true.
Oh, no, I agree. And nothing she said is true. And the most telling
Kabira.
one when it comes to, thank you, Kabir, when it comes to Medicaid is the thing that we've all been talking about for why we were saying that the cuts to the individual committees were implying that you would have to cut these social programs that we have in place. This is the most telling one. Introduced by Senator Wyden, to reconcile instructions to the Committee on Energy and Commerce of the House of Representatives to strike Section 2001B4 relating to reconciliation instructions to the Committee on Energy and Commerce of the House of Representatives to cut $880 billion for Medicaid.
Whoa! Wow.
So that part where we were saying that $88 billion, the reason why we were saying it was going to be a cut to Medicaid is because that's how much was spent on that program. Why would they vote it down if they weren't going to touch it?
DJ saying it's old news, DJ is a terrible excuse. You're going to say that to somebody who's getting their Medicaid cut, DJ? That's old news? Where's your heart at? These are some of the most heartless people. Wow.
That is insane.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. I really haven't. But that's why I'm keeping my eyes on these people who support Donald Trump that I frequently run into on the app, because I understand sooner or later, those tears of joy, they're going to be tears of pain. WRE in the chat. All right, WRE, W Zeus. It's so easy to do. Annie, I hope you're listening. All right.
Yeah. I encourage anybody that's in here listening to actually go to congress.gov and then look at the action. Read the amendments that have been proposed. Look at how your senator voted on it, whether for or against it. Surprisingly, there were 2 Republican senators that voted against passing the House bill that when it was in the Senate. Gosh, I can't remember their names offhand.
Yeah.
One from Missouri and one from Kentucky, I believe.
There you go.
Which was actually really good and surprising, but it still passed. But look at how your senators voted. Keep it in mind. You want to know who you need to vote out and why they're not supporting these resolutions that is actually saying we're going to protect you. We're going to protect the existence of this.
Yeah.
And congress.gov, guys. It's
Congress.gov. She keeps saying that's the website for those who are asking. All right. Well, listen, Ari, I appreciate you. All right, and it's a pleasure to have you check in with us. All right, but we're gonna try to get a couple of more people to come up here, and then we are out of here. All right, but ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're following Ari. All right, because you're going live today, right, Ari? You're going live. When are you going live?
am.
All right. What are your
5:30 Central.
Amen. See, this is what it's all about. All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, WRE in the chat. It's a show of force. Look at that. Look at all these people who love you. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Joy.
Yeah. All right. We're going to move it. Oops, sorry. We're going to move it along. All right. Again, WRE in the chat. To the people that are getting worked up because Ari went to a government website, congress.gov, and read to you the information that you just heard, and it ruined your morning, it ruined your breakfast, your lunch, and dinner, and everything in between, you must not have heard me at the top of the show.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
That part. All right. All right. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Karma heard you. Welcome. Welcome. I told you I was going to bring you up. All right. I told you I was going to bring you up. How are you doing? Karma, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
All right. How are you doing?
I am doing great.
Thank you. All right. Well, you've been very, very patient with Zeus. All right, and you're hanging in there. So thank you. But I don't get to talk to you as often as I should. What is it you would like to say, my good friend, about what's happening?
Okay, first and foremost, Trump is going to prison.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Why would he go though? What do you think he's done that warrants him to go there? Because I don't have a problem with it. I really don't.
Because he is trying to pass the blame and do everything that's on the Republicans' failed agenda because he thinks it's worked in the past. Repeating cycles over and over again, expecting different results.
Isn't that the definition of insanity?
Insanity, yes,
Thank
it
you.
is.
All right. All right. W Karma. Now, obviously, we don't know if he's going to jail or not, but I get the energy behind that because a lot of people would like for that to happen. But this Republican agenda, how do you understand that to help his supporters, if you don't mind? Because I don't think it's going to help us, but how do you think it's going to help them? Marissa in the chat.
Because it's happened before, maybe. And I have a personal vendetta against Donald Trump for a reason. And I have went to jail for him before.
What?
In 2018. Yes, I did.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did. I lived in Las Vegas for 21 years. They had a Trump naked statue. Okay? Outside of the Arts District. And because the News Journal took my picture of me punching him in the face on the statue. I was blamed for when it got vandalized. And
really?
It was proven in court that I did not do it.
So you were free. You didn't get convicted. All right, not guilty. Not guilty. Y'all got to feel me. Hey, wow. They really did that to you.
Yes, and this is why I will not go protest for him again, because I've already done that. Okay? And I have a personal vendetta personally because I am a herd. And he attacked my penguins. And I'm pissed off. I'm sorry, I don't mean to disrespect or...
So you really are upset because, like you just said, you're a herd and he went after the penguins. Do you think the penguins deserve this in any way, or what's the issue behind it?
They are innocent. That's animal abuse. That's just like his sons going out there and hunting lions and tigers and bears all night for trophies. They don't care. They do not care about animals. And that is...
you have a point.
Is the trait of a malignant narcissist.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is too old to ever change his ways.
You don't think a leopard could change their spots, is what you're saying. Well, if you don't mind, why are his supporters not as aware of this as, folks like you and I? What do you think what's going on in their world, do you think?
They are not supporters. They're Trump walking zombies. I'm serious.
They're zombies?
Watch The Wizard of Oz and listen to Pink Floyd, The Brick Wall. And put The Wizard of Oz on mute and start them at the same time. You'll understand.
Whoa. You want me to go put mute on The Wizard of Oz, the old one back in the day, and just hit mute?
Yep. And listen to Pink Floyd, The Brick Wall. And it'll go and sync through the whole movie.
You know what, Venus? What you're doing right now is that sounds pretty intense. It's true. Look at this. Some people are saying it's true. W. Black Diamond, thank you, brother. So this is some far out magical stuff going on. I've always suggested it was a demonic force at work, but what you're now revealing to us is I'm actually right, and that it's probably tied to Pink Floyd and the Wizard of Oz. I'm going to check this out this weekend. All right, Karma. All right, because I've never heard that before. Huh?
I want your feedback.
Okay.
I just opened up my own show. Karma heard you.
Okay. All right. And so
I would love for you to join my show
when is your show, Venus?
whenever I go on.
Okay. You keep it at A1 whenever I pop up. All right, I get it. Hey, I'm on that type of time too sometimes. All right, I totally respect the hustle. Black Diamond, W's in the chat. Look at that. You got some when you go live again, and if your time aligns with my time and the stars align, I'm going to go in there and we're going to do what we got to do. All right, Venus, because guess what? You and I tag teaming this. We're going to get so much truth out there that these people, they're going to have no choice but to accept it. All right.
Right. We're not going to sweep this under the rug.
Absolutely not.
That's what the Republicans want to do.
Thank you. And we're not going to let them.
Called flying monkeys.
All right. There you go. The flying monkeys. All right. And you listen, thank you for at least, being honest and letting us know that you did do what you did to that Trump statue. Because it's better you do it to the statue than honestly to anyone else. So that's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen.
I don't want to get blamed for it again because it might happen.
Don't do it. Don't do it. But you know what? It's a good story and it's one for the history books, honestly. Now I got to move it on, Venus. All right. But it was nice hearing from you. All right. I haven't spoken to you in a while, but as always, you come in and you got some of the most interesting and incredible stories that we need to hear. All right. Thank you again. W Venus, Miss Venus, W Miss Venus. No lies detected. All right. Oh yeah.
Democrats and West Side for life.
Oh, did you say Democrats and West Side for life?
Yeah.
Lord.
I gotta do it.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, that's like Tupac and Kamala Harris all at once. Venus, knock it off. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, what an incredible show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, listen up. We've reached that point in the show where Zeus must depart and tend to the other affairs in the kingdom. I'm so sorry I didn't get to bring up anybody else, but unfortunately I have other engagements to get to in this kingdom. But don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow, same Zeus time, same Zeus channel. I want to give all of you in the audience, especially my subscribers, gifters, moderators, and panelists, a huge round of applause. But I also got to give the Zeus haters out there, and they know exactly who they are. They love to cry after every single show. Zeus, I just can't believe you told so much truth that you hurt my feelings. And it's getting old. It's like a tired playbook, ladies and gentlemen. Enter at your own risk when you come to this show, all right? Instead of being mad at Donald Trump, who's clearly doing the very things you like to say Zeus is doing. Like, Donald Trump is a very he just disrespects everybody. He disrespects people with disabilities. He disrespects women, right? He disrespects his America. Now that I think about it, he disrespects our allies. He's disrespecting your 401ks. He's disrespecting your savings. He's disrespecting your jobs. But at the end of the day, you don't want to go tell Donald Trump you have a problem with him, so you'd rather come over here and try to act like you got a problem with me, Big Zeus. I'm not falling for it. That just makes you a Zeus hater. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him one last round of, you guessed it, booze and shame.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Take care and stay safe out there in those TikTok streets. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. W. Kabira. Wow. What an amazing show. Don't worry, the show will be back tomorrow. Another fire show? Don't worry, I'll upload it to YouTube. And you can click on the link in the bio to find out where the YouTube is, alright? I might have to start doing, figuring out how to do both YouTube and TikTok, because you never know where this app is going. Someone said they want me to connect the dots. You know what time it is over here. We're almost at 400,000. I should do it, and maybe Twitch. Alright, I might do it. What a great show. You all make it very, very enjoyable. Yeah, I have to be Zeus though. But you know, make no mistake, MAGA, a lot of Democrats are not as nice as I am. And I have to be nice in order to keep this show on the rails, alright? But make no mistake, you get up here and you don't engage in good faith, and you just want to spread misinformation like that, it makes a lot of people who invest their time into learning all of this stuff, it makes them feel very disrespected. Right? Imagine you put all the time in, ladies and gentlemen, to get knowledgeable about this stuff, and then you get somebody to come in here and just say some of the nastiest stuff because they're so hell-bent on worshiping Donald Trump. Somebody said they want to hear me play Drill Baby Drill. All right, we'll do some Drill Baby Drill, and then we're out of here.
Pennsylvania Energy.
Let's get some Drill Baby Drill.
Left them out. Drill, baby, drill. We're going to be drilling so deep. We're going to be, for these guys, we're going to drill. We're going to take out so much money. We're going to pay down our debt. We're going to lower your taxes.
Here it goes.
Insane asylums. You know, they go crazy when I say the late, great Hannibal Lecter. Drill, baby, drill. We're going to frack. Drill, drill. There's a frack. There's a Pennsylvania Energy. She's gonna bang, you know she's gonna bang King. Well, up in there she was against stacking against all the stuff.
And then all of a sudden, hey, come on, Don, get out your seat, ladies and gentlemen, because it's time to drill, baby, drill. Fracking very much, look, they always go back to what they want. They always go back. W Willow for the subscription. Left my, she can't help it, and she's gonna end that. And we will frack, and drill, baby, drill. Hey, so deep.
We're gonna be for
hey,
guys, we're gonna drill. We're gonna take out
so much money. We're gonna pay down our debt. We're gonna lower your taxes. Deep insane asylum.
You know they go crazy when I say a late great Hannibal.
Drill, baby, drill. We're gonna frack. Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter. Like it's Hannibal Lecter. Y'all know that's some deep drilling because he was deep in the insane asylum. W Reggie! Here it goes.
Insane asylum.
Uh-oh.
You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal Lecter.
They do.
They say,
why would you mention Hannibal Lecter?
We're gonna pay down.
We're gonna lower your taxes. Deep insane asylums. You know they go crazy when I say
the late great Hannibal.
Lower your taxes.
Deep insane asylum.
You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal. Drill. Black Diamond. Hey, hello. Can you go? Hey, hello. Can you go? Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter time. We're gonna lower your taxes. Deep insane asylums. You know they go crazy when I say, hey, how much do you owe in your house, baby? Oh, you owe $2 million in your house? Don't worry, we'll pay off all your debt. Oh, you owe some taxes? Don't worry. I'll put $500 on it. All right, and you know what that means? I'm lowering your taxes. Yeah, because guess what we're going to do? We're going to drill, baby, drill like we've never drilled before. And then after that, we'll do some fracking. Because we got so much liquid gold underneath our feet. All right, and you know what it is. All right, just drill, baby, drill, and then we'll get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. Take care and stay safe. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do out here in those